So maybe we'll make a recording for the Unicorn Publishing um, playlist. It's August 16th, 2024. Yeah, I'm keeping my eyes out for content creators and such, but I've already got a couple of years of content in mind that I've been working on for years. Um, I don't think I want to get into this describing them in great detail though. um, Suffice to demonstrate that, yeah, I have a number of franchises in mind. One that I've been working on for years, sometimes as a game, sometimes as a story. I think it's one of the few things I even threw like Chat GPT or whatever. Is called Vugs exclamation point trademark, and a lesson I took away from a documentary about the making of Dark Crystal. If you remember the Jim Henson Dark Crystal movie, they had created a whole world and creatures and all kinds of stuff just for imagining where the story takes place, the world the story takes place in, right? But they had it all fleshed out, worked out. Alien life forms and stuff like that. You see them in the movies. Sometimes you see them like a flower thing that perks up and then bundles up and rolls away as a ball or something like that, right? So yeah, Vugs. It's a world I've been working on and fleshing out. Um, I don't know if it matters, but I do have a strong background in science. And my first major in college was for soil science. So geology and dirt and all that erosion. My specialty was going to be water erosion. Um, but Reagan got in and he killed the summer internship programs, and I dropped out and went and did other stuff and came back later. Anyhow, so yeah, I have a pretty strong. In fact, in junior high, um, I took every science class they had except for one, and I couldn't tell you what that one was. That was mainly because I went on to high school, right? So yeah, I've got a decent background in science. So Vugs is an underground world thing. What a Vug is in soil science is a what's a Vug? I gotta describe what a Vug is. It's a cavity. It's a cavity in the soil or a rock or what have not. That's a Vug. Okay. So, underground worlds type thing. Caves, a big old cave worm things that eat and make new pathways and stuff. A la Dune, but not Dune. Uh, and how the ecosystem works is the world of Vugs is basically like this big, not cylinder, vent, huge vent that goes down to molten lava core. So what happens is, on the surface, we can come up with some apocalyptic things. I've already even thought of some cross franchise stuff, like with a wizard and his dog, but without all that, version season 5 type stuff. Um, the surface is part of an ocean. So the high tide at high tides, the water goes into this big hole and that goes on down to molten lava, which of course turns as fast as it can to steam, and that steam rises up and goes through the various venting tunnels and that sort of a thing. And so their whole technology and survival and all is based around that, right? So it's basically a steampunk themed franchise. Main trope. What is a trope? Some of these slang words. I wrap my mind around it and think I know what I'm referring to when I use the term. But then like trope's one of those ones like I'm not so sure anymore. What exactly is a trope? A meme's kind of straightforward. That's a meme. So there's bugs and Stingy Nettle's my main character and we could go on from there. But another steampunk type technology I like is using coiled springs as a source for kinetic energy. Anyhow, that's a whole nother matter. But it's got a basis, kind of a science fiction basis. So there's a logic to the world. But we want to go for manga, chibi silliness, and that sort of stuff. Then there's Clown World, or I usually stamp it as Clown President. I won't get into all the details about Clown President, but it is a world that is like 3,000 years in our future. And yes, of course, it has its apocalypse thing. And yes, there's a reason why everyone goes around as a clown and society wouldn't think of doing otherwise. But then there's another component that gets us a fertile ground for stories and cuteness and characters. And I call them Tanuki, but they're not really Tanuki. Tanuki in Japanese stuff is like a raccoon demon or some sort of thing. Japanese love demons. Um, I'm referring more to what a furry animal or funny animal, furry animal. Your humanoid fox, your humanoid bunny, that kind of Zootopia stuff. And yes, there's some racial tensions between the two and yada da yada dee. But that gives us a very fertile ground for content creation. And then there's I'm not sure what I would want to call them. I'll mention the Cybernauts first. Cybernauts, I'm hoping to brand our metaverse pioneers, our people specialists that really live in cyberspace. But Cybernauts refers to a, a willingness and a skill set to deep dive on cyberspace, of which metaverse is one of the strongest ones coming on currently. So honorable mention for augmented reality. Augmented reality is and is going to be huge, but we can't scatter ourselves too much. Again, we can't scatter ourselves. How we deal with that is by outsourcing, basically. But so once we're up and running and in production, we'd be looking for opportunities to partner with people that are doing augmented reality. So we're already bridging to make out of cyberspace into brick and mortar with minting RWAs and that sort of a thing. So yeah, I guess the other one. Well, let's see. I recently wrote back down in my notes about Squirrelila Dad and Trillila Del Lumpkin, which I created back in the '70s. That's somewhere in my notes. I came across them once. But it is the Prime Comics crowd, I guess. The Limp Noodle, um, Captain Mushmine and Kid Critter, Willie Wisdom, Dizzy What I Know. He's really more modern, but I'm gonna throw him in there anyhow. What are some of the other characters? But see, that's stuff I already have. We can crank out as much as we want with that alone. But yeah, I'm interested in like Agent Hanuman's perked up about being a cartoonist, and I haven't seen I we haven't followed up on it any further. But if he's got a character, oh yeah, another new one I came up with, unless we find conflicts, is a Cyborg Dog, superhero named Cyborg Dog. So, and the Limp Noodle is influenced, if not inspired, by various characters like Earthworm Jim. Um, yeah, the Limp Noodle. I don't know why I'm being so obsessed with the Limp Noodle lately. But oh, and yeah, okay. Imagining him as being like Gumby, and so I thought, well, Gumby's got the sidekick Pokey. I think the Limp Noodle should have a sidekick, probably something he can ride. I don't know where that. Maybe we can wait a few issues for that. Um, but his superpower is invisibility, kind of like the Shadow. But he tends people tend not to see the Limp Noodle because the whole concept of him blows their mind. So instead of trying to figure out what he is or how he is or is he really there, they just kind of put blinders on and ignore him. So it's that kind of invisibility. The Cosmic Ooze is his arch nemesis, his super villain, and I've made some notes on that. And there's many things we could use with the Cosmic Ooze. So anyhow, 12 minutes, that's enough about this. This should go under Unicorn Publishing because it's content creation information. No, I got plenty. Mostly I need project managers and those to do the actual work to kind of polish off the rough edges and make them ready for prime time, so to speak. Um, yeah, anything we can make a comic book out, we can make a game of and should. Again, by getting cross selling going and cross marketing, um, and and building a trustworthy brand, um, yeah,